Do you hear the fan? Do you hear my sister slamming?
No, we good. We're recording already. Don't tell me to hold on now.
Oh,
We are live. We are live.
you can keep that shit there.
All
I
right.
like I like
Welcome
that.
back to the Lidat Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Sam. Feel free to call me Sammy, Boppy, whatever you want to call me. Today, I'm joined by a special guest, Javon Taylor. I'm going to give you a little bit of applause for that. I'm going to give you a little bit of introduction to Javon in case a lot of you guys don't know. I'm sure a lot of you guys do because a lot of people that view this are either friends from school or I've talked about you in some type of way to a lot of our viewers. Javon, I would say, in terms of people that went to Clinton or high school with me, is a trailblazer in the sense that he does not think like most people in our group of friends. I would say initially he is the first person that came to me with a differing viewpoint in terms of politics. And at first, I was, how could I say, I kind of mimicked how people were reacting around me. And I didn't give his viewpoint enough time, enough thought into a couple of years later on after elections were done in 2016. And I watched and I viewed. I stayed quiet for a little bit and I just started picking up on certain things that Javon was talking about in the first place. And me and him have had countless dialogues where is it fair to say that you're conservative? You have conservative views?
Very. I'm only getting more conservative with time. It's crazy.
So he has conservative views, and I would say I'm more nuanced or in the middle. I would say that Jose is more to the left, and I want to preface this whole conversation with everyone here needs to everyone here is free to express their views without being ridiculed or demeaned, unless the point you are making logically at its highest point does not make sense, and then we are free to have dialogue on that. Let me go further into Javon. I don't think Javon is popular amongst his friends right now either. But Javon is a hard worker. I was like, he joined. He was also on the swimming team. My last guest was Tori, who was the captain of the swimming team. He also joined the swimming team late, around the same time I joined him, and he's always been cool headed. He's always been a really cool guy, really smart. Like when it comes to certain issues, his approach to like outside of just myself, he's the only person I know that asks as much questions as he does before he has an opinion on something. He asks a lot of questions. He does a lot of research before he has an opinion. Great swimmer, great man. This is Javon Taylor. Hello, Javon.
Hey, I know I influenced you that much politically.
You helped me not think like everyone else. I posted something on Instagram to I'm fine with not following people or just people being sheep and whatnot. I like to see everything before I have an opinion on it. I mean, I might have like an urging like it'll just sound stupid as fuck here and there, but I try to think first now. You know me from high school. A lot of people don't know me from high school. Like, I was very rash. Like my first initial thought is basically what it was the entire time. I like to think now I'm more composed to wait.
Definitely. I remember.
Yeah. And of course, I'm joined by Jose.
Still the wackest fucking intro.
My co-host.
Whack, bro. Jesus.
I'm joined today by Jose Platano Guerrero, the most Hispanic name you will find on the internet.
First of all, that's incorrect. Apparently, I am Afro-Latino now. I am no longer Dominican.
We're starting off like that.
Yep.
Jose, how fuck you doing, man?
I'm fantastic, bro.
You doing fantastic?
So I get paid, fucking get that money, and I'll buy my camera equipment, bro. Woo! Unless the fucking looters just take my shit before I get to it.
All right. So, I mean, since you're already talking about looting, we're talking about looting. How about we start the episode on some good news? The last episode was very moody. Joanne, do you see the last episode?
I didn't see the last one.
All right, last episode I started off really moody. It was a whole different tone. This episode we have more good news. We have some bad news, but we have some more good news that we can focus on. First, all 4 of the police officers involved in the death of George Floyd have now been arrested. A little bit of applause for that, guys. A little bit of applause. Also, before I don't want to go straight into race, but as I did see, it was a white guy, an Asian guy, a Spanish guy, and who was the last person?
I think it was 2 Asians.
2 Asians.
I think
It
so.
was it was multi. A lot of people of different races basically were involved in that, so it wasn't just like a racial thingy in terms of the cops.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just police brutality. You know, it's still not good,
Yeah.
but at least. Okay, I'm gonna get away from that
I mean,
too.
Don't tell BLM that.
Yeah,
But
yeah. So that's some good news. How do you guys feel about that? Do you think justice was served? And do you also guys believe that justice was served quickly enough? I think that's a more pressing question.
should I go first?
Yeah, Joanne, you can go first.
yeah, you're the guest.
This is what I don't understand. It's like, all right, when people talk about like an injustice, like we live in a world, bad things are gonna happen, correct?
Mm-hmm. It's life.
So that's life. Him being choked out. I mean, putting like that video was hard. I couldn't watch it more than once. Like that shit was crazy.
I didn't even watch the entire video.
Yeah, I had to
Like,
Watch it.
that shit was crazy. I don't want to put my tinfoil hat on because part of me is like that shit's a false flag, but that's another story for another day. But
I know what you're saying though. I pick up what you've been. Yeah.
But before we go there, it shouldn't have happened. But the minute it happened, the cop got arrested. He lost his job. The president has the FBI on the case, and he got charged with third-degree murder.
Was it a second?
Second-degree murder and second-degree manslaughter. They changed it recently?
Yeah,
Okay.
It was initially third. So it's like it'd be one thing, like during the Rodney King riots, people started rioting because they saw the video, it went to trial, and the cop got off. That at least makes sense to me.
Yeah.
But can you like wait till the thing is done before you start tearing up the whole country? Like that part is I don't understand.
Okay. Before we get into the looting part, the fact that these people are arrested, how do you feel about that?
Okay, that's good.
Of course, yes. I think we all agree here. I think it's going to be unanimous unless Jose has some differing opinions, but I doubt it.
I'm trying to be an asshole. No.
And
I guess the original question, you said it was fast enough. I mean, it's due process, right? I mean, they're still citizens, and we don't like them, but like they still need a trial. You need to give them a trial regardless, even though they fucking pieces of shit.
Yeah, man. That is true. I'll post something on Facebook akin to, I thought everyone was innocent until proven guilty. I thought that's part of what we're fighting for.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong.
It wasn't very popular. It wasn't very popular on Facebook.
I mean, they're pieces of shit. We all agree on that. But
no, they're shitbags. Yeah.
This is our country. This is how it's done. Give them the fucking due process. And it's not like they're walking away free. It's not like they're out free. They're still in jail. The due process. It took its time.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like it took 2 years.
Okay. So now for me, do I think it was fast enough? One, I don't think it was fast enough. Part of it is the reason that the original report on the cause of death was intoxicants within his bloodstream. Also, he was asymptomatic for coronavirus, and people try to use that as the reasoning for his death, and not the fact that a cop's knee was on his neck for about 8 minutes.
Because there were 2 reports. Wasn't
that? Oh yeah, someone because the family asked for an outside report after they got that initial report from the coroner's office.
Mm-hmm.
That type of thing is what's going to set people ablaze. The fact that we all saw him get suffocated to death, and the coroner's report comes out and says, no, the cause of death is intoxicants within the system. And then the body gets checked 2 or 3 other times by other outside people, and asphyxiation. He had the life choked out of his body.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that is going to set people ablaze. Stuff like that is why people do not trust the justice system. Stuff like that is why people are in the streets, or were in the streets. Now, I'm not using that as a reason, as an excuse for people's actions in the streets. I'm using that to explain a catalyst or a domino effect to why people over the years have built this kind of resentment towards public officials being cops, senators, lawyers, judges, presidents, and whatnot. Was it fast enough? It's hard. It's always gonna be based off perspective. And like you did say, I think your answer was really good. Due process and whatnot is always going to be a part of slowing something down, speeding something up is relative. I would like to focus on the fact that justice was served, though. Justice was served. What everyone inside of America cried for, what everyone in America wanted to happen, happened at the end of the day.
Exactly.
That's just the confusing part of it to me, because it's like we're all on the same page. So
Everyone
what the
agrees.
fuck?
Republicans, Democrats, everyone agrees on this.
Right? Like every other police instance of police brutality, there's always a back and forth. Like Republicans, I still hear a lot of them. Well, Trayvon Martin, he shouldn't have done this, or like Philando Castile, Mike Brown. Like there's always a back and forth. But this one, everyone's like, yeah, cops in the wrong.
But I do
That's the part.
feel like, for example, Candace Owens. I do feel like a lot of right wing activists or speakers or public figures, such as Candace, is promoting information that it's hard. See, because when I just think about it strictly off what someone is saying, then I don't really see an issue with it. But in a situation where people's emotions are riled up and everyone's in a state of duress and whatnot, comments from Candace Owens, such as, now that the coroner's report had came out that he had intoxicants inside the system, does your opinion of the situation change? Now, if you don't know Candace Owens and you just took it at face value, you would think, okay, that's a genuine question. Do you think that changes the situation? If you know Candace Owens and you know the way she speaks, you know the cadence and how she tries to approach an attack right before she launches an attack, you understand she's minimizing what happened.
Right.
And I do feel conflicted at times, like really conflicted, because the logic part of my body wants to say, on the face of what she said, there is no bad towards it. It's when you put thought into what she said that the evil or bad comes out of it.
Right.
But I'm not sure if that's a reflection of myself and digging into it, or is that a reflection of me understanding people's emotions at the moment of what's going on? What do you guys think about that?
I think you more. I don't know. Like, I don't have emotions, so to me, I just hear that.
Guy.
I don't know what that's like. So, which I feel like I'm being punished for all the time for not being emotional. But I just hear that and I'm like, huh, well, yeah, maybe does it? Oh no, not really. Like it's not a big deal to me.
So let's take away emotions from it. Problem solving. Do you think that solves the problem?
Yeah. To ask that question.
Does it what does it do? Does it solve any problems that currently exist, or do you believe as a problem solving mechanism that it might create more problems? Based off logic, not emotions, logic.
No, yeah, you're right. Yeah, definitely would cause more problems. And it doesn't change anything really. Like I get it if he had his knee on his back or something, okay, but on a nigga's neck,
yeah,
like,
that's
what?
wild.
That's wild. And that, okay, we're not gonna get there yet, but all right, yeah, that I'm just.
Jose.
I mean, I agree with you guys. I don't know what else to say.
Wow.
Kind of want to get to my question.
And a few words.
I am. I'm tunnel vision.
Okay, you're tunnel vision right now. So you guys just want to jump straight into the looting?
No, I don't want to get into that. I want to think of something else. I wanted to ask Javon something.
Okay, let's not get to that yet. Let's.
You don't even know what the fuck I'm gonna ask.
But I don't want the questions of Javon to start into middle. I don't want the beginning to be riddled by that. I want the beginning to be riddled with what we think. What all of us agree is important, right? What everybody thinks is important right now.
Fuck. If I forget it, it's your fault.
All right, let's get to Dykeman. I think Dykeman right now is in the news. It's interesting to me what is going on, and Jose is fully Dominican, so I'll let you more speak on it. I reckon that. Wait, before I continue, I'm Dominican and Puerto Rican.
Afro Latino, bro. What's wrong with you?
I recognize myself as American. With the BLM thingy, I do support that movement in its current state in terms of what happened to George Floyd is an injustice and that it should never happen again. Mm-hmm. That is my stance in the situation, and I'm wording that very clearly. I'm very specific with my words and their placements within that sentence and statement. Mm-hmm. Dykeman, I've seen people try to call Hispanics generally, first they called them black. Right. Then they said the fact that looting didn't happen in the neighborhoods is tantamount to being racist in the first place. At least in the way I viewed it. That's my hot take on it. The fact that they didn't allow their community to be looted is tantamount to being racist by itself. Granted, I did see a video of a Dominican man inside of a car screaming, "We're not letting these fucking animals into our neighborhood to destroy it." I don't want to hear no. I don't want to hear no Dominicans talking about black this, black that. He said, "Fuck that. We're not allowing that shit to happen." That could be perceived as racist, but that's one video, right? And that's one person. I posted a video onto my Instagram where it was in Dykeman and it was majority Hispanic people gathering together, and what was stated within there in that setting was protect your neighborhood. If you don't see, if you see someone that's not from here, that's usually not here, ask them where you're from. If you see someone trying to destroy your stuff, protect your stuff. He's like, I'm also not asking for you to beat anyone up or to start problems. I'm asking for you to just protect your neighborhood. We cannot allow people to come into our neighborhood and destroy it, like outsiders and whatnot. This is our place. This is our people and whatnot. I'm gonna throw a little funny comment in there because I saw someone comment something I thought was funny. Well, my response to it is pretty funny. To me anyway. Someone said something along the lines of, "Damn, Dominicans are crazy racists and whatnot. That's why I hope we keep taking your women." Well, pal, buddy, whatever you want to be called, if we're black, aren't you just taking your own women? It's the same thing, right? Facts. I mean, your logic doesn't add up. Nah, but
I mean, we're not Dominican.
That's what's going on with the whole Dykeman situation. Jose, I want to hear your opinions on this first, because seeing as we're born in DR, and you could probably speak for possible racism within Hispanic houses or possible racism within Dominican communities. I'd like you to speak on the whole thing that happened in Dykeman. How do you view it? How do you view Dominican society in general? Being from there, like, just try to break it down as much as you can.
Yeah. So, from what I'm hearing, I keep telling you, bro. Apparently, I'm not Dominican. I'm Afro Latino. Someone took away my Dominican card. Apparently, because that makes fucking sense. I'm Afro Latino. I've never been in fucking Africa. Jesus, makes no sense to me. You know what I mean? Like,
it makes no sense for you to be called Afro Latino.
Yeah. I'm not from Africa.
I mean, a lot of terms don't make no sense. Like African American doesn't make any sense. Most people aren't from Africa anymore.
Facts. Like, it is what it is. All right, protesting. I love the protests. I love that the protests happened everywhere in all the states, and keep emphasis on protests. Mm-hmm. I love that it happened in every single state. It shows that, if something happens in one state, it affects all of us. So we should all stand together and let, our governors, our officials know, this shouldn't happen here. We're not cool. We're showing support to what happened in Minnesota. Mm-hmm. The looting, I don't fuck with at all. I think that was horrible. I think
wait, you're skipping ahead. Let's try to stay on the Dominican and Hispanics.
I mean, I'm going
and inside their households and whatnot.
I'm kind of like building up to it.
I'm sorry. But, I'm sorry. My fault, my G. Let me mute myself.
Take my question that I'm not allowed to ask. All right. Anyways, the looting I don't fuck with. Okay, Dominican households. Let's get to it. Listen, I'll be honest. Dominican parents, they don't really fuck with like black people. Like, if a daughter like let's just say if let's just say I had a sister and she came home with a black man, I'm not gonna lie, there's some racism in there. Like maybe not racist, but Dominican people or Hispanic people, they don't see they see black people as uneducated. They see them as savages, rioters. They just make a lot of trouble. They complain. You know, like I was getting a haircut, you know, with my barber, and it was just a bunch of us. And you know, the talk that was going on was like, it's just that, you know, black people, like they just start shit all the time. Like that's what he said. Like they start shit. They're not obedient sometimes, and us Hispanic people, like we're more docile. We kind of just let shit happen.
I hate to cut you off right here.
Go ahead. I'm just telling you what.
I understand what you're saying. Are you sure to use the word obedient?
Yes.
Obedient is pretty a harsh word. Or do you mean they possibly could have said something along the lines of sometimes they don't like civilized? Because that might be an error in translation. Because to say obedient might suggest mastery.
I said docile.
Huh? No, you said obedience. They don't show obedience. They're not obedient.
Yeah. People. Okay, wrong word.
Maybe civil.
Yeah, they're not as civil. Okay. They kind of
still bad word, but I'll let you continue.
My word, my bad. Not my first language. My second. Fuck it. All right. Anyways, but like they feel like in their community it's just a lot of mess. It's a lot of like chaos, and that's how Dominican people sometimes see black people. I'm not gonna say Hispanic no more because I don't know what Mexicans. I mean, although I kind of know what other Hispanic, you know, communities feel.
Most Hispanic groups are pretty similar.
Yeah, they're pretty similar. They see them as just agitators. Like they just start shit. You know, like pants down. That's something that if you're a black man, do not bring your fucking pants down in a Hispanic household. They don't fuck with that. They see that because they see it as you just, what are you, a convict? So yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. We still see it like that. Some of them. Keep in mind, I said some of them. Don't start hating on Hispanic people. Not all of them are like that.
I think a lot of younger people don't really have an issue with it.
No.
I think that people brought up within tradition across all fields of races have a pretty similar view.
Yeah, it's mainly the older generation.
I think that's just traditionalists in general. When things aren't traditional or managed or seen can possibly be seen as barbaric to certain groups of people like Asians, Muslims, not Muslim, Middle Easterns, or just any group of people. There's people that are mostly religious. I do see that people or groups of people that fall within some sort of traditional groups usually seem to have an issue with certain groups of people.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
All right. Javon, do you have any viewpoint on it?
I would say with everything he said, that sounds like Jamaicans to me. Like that's like his problem with black sounds like it's not really racial. It's more so
not his problem because he didn't say he had a problem.
Okay, yeah. But like the problem within Dominican culture that they have with blacks is not really racial. It's more so cultural. Because I have the same experience. Like when I'm in a Jamaican barbershop, he was saying the same shit. Like he doesn't make his kids grow up here because he doesn't want them to end up like American blacks. So he has them grown up in Jamaica. He's gonna bring them when they get older, but he wants them to stay in Jamaica because he says American blacks are too unruly. That's a quote. Rules. And I think for me, because of the fact I'm from that culture, is the difference. Because when I express my views around most Jamaicans, it's not really that radical. Like some things they don't obviously agree with, but for the most part, my views are pretty regular amongst Jamaicans. At least being conservative is pretty regular. They might not be like, I've met a few Jamaicans that are like Republican, but I would say go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go.
Yeah, and I would say from my group, it's pretty normal. But go ahead.
Do you think that possibly has something to do with religion? Because the same thing between your two groups of people is that they're either predominantly Christian or Catholic. and also with the whole traditionalist.
Yeah, I would say.
Yeah.
Because with the black community, they've completely given up on tradition. Like for the most. I mean, even though with a lot of minority groups have that problem, especially here in America, welfare and all that of breaking up families, but a lot of them don't have families.
That's a
Like in
strong
the
point.
Bronx,
That's actually a really strong point.
90% in the Bronx, I think it is, like 80% of them don't have dads. Like that
Are not raised by their fathers.
right. And that's what I think is really the whole obsession with white people is really about not having a father, in my opinion, because they claim to care about black lives, right? But they don't care about abortion. They don't care when another black man kills a black man. No one's marching. No one's protesting. None of y'all can tell me, because they always say, oh, when you say black on black crime, that's like you're skirting the conversation, right? But they never talk about it. Like none of y'all can tell me one name of like one black person that's been a martyr because they got killed in like a unfair circumstance by another black person. None. Or no other. That's why a lot of the times with this stuff, I know it serves a function to divide black people and white people. That's why for a lot of it, I just look at it differently. But I know because you never see any other pairing of cop make the news. Like you never see a white cop kill a white person, or a black cop kill a black person, or a black cop kill a white, because it doesn't serve a function. It doesn't fit the narrative, so they don't really talk about it. So I just don't get the selective outrage. Like you say you care about black lives. Abortion doesn't get you upset. Black crime doesn't get you upset. The only common denominator is that one involves white people. So when a white man kills a black person, now y'all up in arms and y'all, it's like this really toxic relationship between white people and black people, like white liberals and black liberals.
Something that I heard was that someone said that white people love talking about black people, but they don't like talking to black people.
Exactly.
And
I think that's exactly it.
And I kind of agree with that. Like they like talking about black people, but
they like blacks in theory, but not in practice.
Exactly. So I was like, shit, that's really true. It just feels like that. Maybe that's how they feel.
Because a lot of the comments I'm seeing when they're talking about this stuff, they're like, wow, they don't really care. Wow, they don't even care. It's like, you're a grown ass man. Why are you asking for another strange man to care about you? Like, I just find that so weird. Like, the average person on the street, I don't care if you live or die. Like, my life don't change. But to be calling out to strangers to care about your life to me is so fucking weird. And the only conclusion I could reach is that, like, oh, you want someone to care about you like your dad who wasn't there.
Well, hold on. Hold on. So I'm gonna give you pushback on a couple of those points that you made. Just so it can be like a fair dialogue.
Yeah.
One,
I gotta ask these questions. This guy.
One,
needs some.
The fact that people do end up caring for each other is the reason why America has been able to grow to the way it is right now. Where if people didn't care at any point ever, our people, all three of us, because like it or not, we are all black, would have still been slaves.
That's up for debate.
Are you giving me the black card?
Huh?
Are you giving me the black card?
I mean, based off your ethnicity, you would be like 57% white, and the rest of you would be like 30% would be black, and like the rest would be Taino from whatever.
All right, so I need you to like write a note.
No,
and
I'm not giving you a note.
I want permission.
You're not allowed to say the N-word. I give people permission. If he says the N-word, you guys can curb stomp him.
First of all, I'm gonna take a clip out of this and I'm gonna put it on Instagram. Sam Encarnacion gives me permission to use the N-word from now on.
Oh my god! All right, so let me continue it. Right, the fact that someone did care is the reason why me and you are allowed to have this dialogue here. So I'm not saying the fact that you don't care is fine, and that's your right to feel any way you want to feel. But the fact that people did care at certain points in the history is the reason why any of us can have the dialogue that we're having now. The fact that someone did care at any point in history is the reason why we have certain technologies or freedoms or anything that we have currently within the room that you're sitting in. The four walls, excuse me. the microphone I have right now, the laptop I have right now, people cared about making life better, and that's the progression of humans. Humans are I'm not even sure how to even use that word, like a persevering species. What's the word?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, so we're preservationists. I don't know how to say the word. I'm sorry. That's my Latin kicking in right there. But it's why humans have existed for so long. We understand how to keep our people moving, how to keep our people going, and I feel like there's an innate thing in somewhere in people's DNA that says, if your species is in danger, there's a reason for you to act, and there's a reason if you see that there's a reason why we have empathy. If another one of us are hurt, we can still feel the pain, even though pain is arbitrary. It's not something that actually exists. We all act as if the pain does exist, and we act in a way to get rid of the pain that is there. As a species, sure, there's people such as Javon that carry seems, or I don't think he thinks this, but can come across as caring doesn't serve a function in society, but it does.
I'm not saying I don't care. I'm saying it's priorities. Like like how many unarmed black men were killed last year? You know?
I think the number is like 17?
9.
9.
How many black men get killed by black men every year? Like
Sure.
8,000.
Oh yeah. So push back to another point you made earlier. So when okay, it is not incorrect to say white on white crime, Hispanic on Hispanic crime, and black crime doesn't exist, or it exists. It's not incorrect to say these things exist. I personally feel that a better way of, I don't want to say a better way, a preferable way for me of understanding the issue is people within their own community cause harm to each other. Because when you just make it racial like that, if you just flatten it out and just make it racial, it'll make it seem like one group of people is doing harm to each other at an exponential rate. But if you do it based off communities, it flattens out. People within certain communities, based on if you compare it on poverty or wealth, can make crimes at almost the same rate within each other's communities. When you put it based off of race, and you see where most blacks or Hispanics are, they're in condensed areas where if there's more of them in one area, then of course they're going to commit more crimes towards each other. But if you compare a place in Utah that you want to say it's suburbia, but they don't really have apartment complexes. They're not on top of each other. Even though the amount of people are committing a certain amount of people are committing a crime, the amount of chances they have to commit the crime isn't as high as another place. Does that make sense when you do the math like that?
I get it, but my problem with that type of talk is that it's obfuscation. Like people always use it to just dismiss the problem. Like people go, well, white people do it too, so like it's not a problem, and they just kind of.
Well,
They know.
I'm not dismissing the problem. I'm explaining why numbers can seem a certain type of way. I'm not saying the numbers are lying, but numbers can be manipulated to seem a certain type of way instead of another way. If there's for example, like we all know we know the numbers of unarmed white people to get killed by the cops. We know the numbers. It's something around like 30-something%. It's higher than the number of black people that get killed by cops, right? Sure. But if you take away the race and you go based off of communities and which communities and which states and stuff like that, you start seeing different numbers. So you start seeing the issue as a state by state or a community by community issue other than a racial issue. And to your point or your viewpoint of certain things, that kind of takes race out of a lot of the issues that people talk about now. So I feel sometimes conflicted with saying something like that because then it takes, on one hand, it doesn't demonize a group, but on the other hand, it takes away an issue that could be happening within a group of people. So I feel conflicted at certain times because I can word it one way. I learned about this concept recently. It's called double talking. For example, double talking could be like, say one way you said, one way of saying something is you murdered that person. A form of double talk would be No, I interacted with his lifespan to conveniently make things better for me. It's a form of double talking. It makes it seem a different type of way than it actually is, but it's still the same thing. But with double talking, it makes certain things seem different. It's what a lot of news people do, it's what a lot of politicians do, and whatnot. And I don't want to do that when I speak.
Exactly. So I'm like, that's gay. I don't want to, but I get what you're saying. Like when I wouldn't say this flat out. I mean, I would word it better when I talk to most people. Because I
Mhm.
know somebody like you would understand what I'm saying. So that's why I'm just being blunt about it.
Yeah,
But I know with most people, you can't really do stats because stats don't really work with people. Like
they don't.
that's a certain type of language that most people don't speak.
Mm-hmm.
So I know with other people, I would word it way differently, but still get my point across.
I think
But
I think with
I
most
know
people, you want to say something outright. You would ask them a question and just watch what they respond, and you just probably nod your head and just keep it pushing.
I can't censor myself, bro. Like, don't ask me. Like, if you ask me, I'll be like, Anyway, I'll change the topic, but it makes it so obvious because, like, in my head, I'm like, all right, just play along. I can't. I
Yeah.
can't. So if you ask me, I'm gonna tell you. But I just know how to phrase it now. Because to me, it's honestly like every time I talk to people, I'm like, wow, do I really think that differently? Like, I'd be shocked because I
Yeah.
think everything I'm saying is just common sense. But I guess it
What
ain't
do you
so.
guys? How do? Well, okay, cool. We went through like a whole conversation. How do you guys feel about the looting and destruction that went across the city of New York recently? I'll let Javon talk about it right now, and you can express your entire viewpoint on it.
I mean, our stock just went down crazy.
What
Which
fuck?
who
As
stopped?
like minorities or blacks, I would say, like this is not a good look
Yeah.
because it's making me look at black people crazy. So I can only imagine, because and to me, it's not only the people who are looting. It's just as much to me. It is just as wrong to justify it.
Mhm.
So it's making me look at black people crazy. I know it's plenty of us got sense, but the people justifying it to me are just as bad. And if any of
What?
them, if I was a store owner, you even think about touching my shit, I'm blowing your brains out. Like I'm blowing you away. Like I find it to be so fucking evil. Like it's so wrong to me. But go
Okay.
ahead.
So what would you say to the argument that some people make that is they don't listen to us if we do it peacefully? We have to make a riot. We have to make a stand. People that
The fuck that
say
the fuck that got to do with me? Am I the government? Like what the fuck power I got? If you come after my shit because of what the government did, and half these niggas, like we gotta remember, we in a very very I guess particular time. So a lot of people they at home, they lost their job, they don't give a fuck about no George Floyd. They ain't got nothing to do with that. A lot of they're just opportunists, and there's a time they see an opening. So this
Mhm.
isn't like organized riot. Okay, like if they were government burning down government buildings or something, okay. Even that I wouldn't support. I would only support if like after like the trial went through and he got off. Okay, I at least understand that. But at this point, to start rioting and looting when like he still gets due process. Like you can't just like okay, I want him to get the death penalty the minute it happened. That's not how shit works. So at this current, no, I don't support that. And there are instances like they bring up moments where it didn't work out, but in those moments, there were arguments for the cop. It was like malpractice or the cop. It wasn't murder because cops are different than us, and it makes sense why they get treated differently. Because I don't have the power to arrest people, where a cop does.
No, you have the power. Civilians arrest is
Well, but
possible.
it's not. Well, we're not the same as cops.
Yeah,
We're
we're
it's not
not,
not.
calm.
We
and
can't
it makes
actually search out arrest.
right,
Yeah.
and
I just
it makes sense why. So it's like there are some situations where it's like, okay, I could kind of see, but they don't like to bring up Boston Jean because that's an example where clearly the woman was in the wrong. It's a white woman too. The person supposed to have the most power in all of the United States. She got tried, went to jail, found guilty, but they don't like to bring that moment up because he didn't play the victim. He was Christian. It was a moment of forgiveness. He wasn't angry. They don't like that because it doesn't fit the narrative. But they continually pick the worst people to martyr. Like Mike Brown, like he was in the middle of committing strong arm robbery, and they still say hands up, don't shoot when that shit did not happen.
Or I can't breathe in that point. That was the I can't breathe one.
It was?
Yeah.
No. That was Eric Garner. I can't.
Yeah, you're right. My fault.
Yeah, and then you had Philando Castile. Not that he deserved it, but from what we all saw in the video, the cop stopped him. He was like, "Don't reach for your gun. Don't reach for your gun." He says it like 3 times, and he's kept reaching. So not to say like he deserved to die, but that wasn't. Oh, I'm just shooting niggers today for no reason. You know what I mean?
Wow.
But this one,
He's allowed to say it.
You're not though.
Nah, it's too late now. You call me black. You're done. It's on tape. Antifa's gonna be looking for you now.
Listen, when we start talking about Antifa, I'm gonna give you a timeline and everything, bro. I'm gonna give you a timeline and everything.
All right, so let's go back.
But I'm gonna try not to make the same points I made in the podcast I didn't post because a lot of it can be misconstrued, and I want to focus on the exact points I'm trying to make before I say anything.
So there's other people that make the case. Well, this country was founded on the whole rebellion and riot thing. Like they bring up the Boston Tea Party. You know, I don't think that the tea company that was bringing the tea had anything to do with the king or what was going on. If I'm wrong, let me know. But like they bring that event as, listen, we did that.
This is what this country's about.
Yeah. What would you say to that?
Well, my question to that is, what did the Boston Tea Party accomplish?
I'm just bringing up their points because I want to know. I mean, you could say that it was one of the turning points in history. I mean, that's one of the points that we learning
they threw away tea because the tea was getting taxed.
Yeah, that was an organized rebellion. This shit
and they attacked something specific based off an issue they had.
Right. What issue? They got an issue.
That's my counter argument with that. My fault.
That's all good. They got an issue with Gucci or Nike. Like, what the fuck Nike got to do with any of this? Why are you running up in Nike stores and shit?
Target too.
Yeah, like these niggas is crazy.
I don't know. My thing with the lootings, it was horrible. There's no point. Why?
There's no defending it at all.
So many businesses that I'm visiting right now. Right now, I'm in Queens, and you know, no looting happened in Queens. But the business in Brooklyn, who been closed for, I can track it. I mean, I can even tell you how long they've been closed for. But they've been closed for over 5 months. Keep in mind, like all the product that they have in there is expired. All of it, almost all of it. So that means that if they don't have a contract with a company like the one that I'm working for or others, they have to just throw that out, rebuy that so that they can sell it on top of paying the rent for that building that they had. And then they're forced to shut down even more because of this freaking looting. And then some of the businesses that reopened and they got some new stuff in there to sell, all that shit was taken away. So it's like you're just destroying your own people. The one indictment was just the most horrible shit I ever saw in my life. That's your own.
I mean, I said what I said with the whole thingy. I posted. I think you guys both saw it too, where I stated that.
Bro.
What I said.
Yeah, go.
Where I said that race relations are going to be worse. That's one. 2, everyone's going to live off of debt. So everyone's going to have credit cards. They're not going to have any net positive income because the only people that can afford to rebuild are the filthy rich. Business owners or small business owners can't usually afford to rebuild because they work off their profits and paying their employees and whatever margin they have left to pay off their rent and whatnot. So if they can't pay off their properties, they lose their properties. Right? And then that makes everything okay, for example, people that stole money. I was explaining this to people because people don't understand that The fact that you're stealing money doesn't make the money, doesn't mean you have more money. Doesn't virtually mean, sure, you have more money in your pockets, but in the long run, that money's value isn't the same amount. If the economy dips, the value of that money dips as well. The argument, as simple as this. So let's say a cup of coffee right now is like $2. If the cup of coffee, because it's harder to get coffee, jumps from $2 to $4, and like what happened to the coffee, it goes across the entire economy. Virtually all the money you have currently is got cut in half because everything's twice as expensive. And if everything's twice as expensive, the money you have is worth half of the amount it used to be worth. Because you can't purchase the same amount you had before. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yeah.
Okay, so I argued that race relations is gonna be worse because okay, I'm gonna say this. I'm not advocating for either side for the voting booth. I'm not gonna talk about votes right now. I'm gonna say this though. In 2016, no one thought it was possible for Trump to win the presidency then. Every expert, everyone on social media was saying virtually almost something similar to what is being said now. Right? He won the vote. So if let's go with the argument that people are making that Trump is racist. I will not speak my stance on this. I'm more here to just have a dialogue, right? And to just approach the conversation from logical standpoints. Let's go with the argument that Trump is racist, right? And let's go with the argument that Trump won the 2016 election due to racist.
Mm-hmm.
If that's the case, all they've seen for the last week and some change on social media and news networks is people do exactly what they thought those groups of people were going to do. I'm not sure if anyone, if I'm not sure if they think, not that they think, I'm not sure if people that are anti-racist believe that after this, these people are going to flip. And if these people had an amount of power to elect this person into office the first time, what makes the people that are protesting now believe that this is going to be any different? I'll also strengthen that argument with no president ever has lost an election during a time of war, be it civil war, be it war outside the country, be it unrest and within the country. No president. Bush was the first president to lose a proper election, and Stu won due to the electoral college because most states wanted to keep him in office. Strategically, it's not a sound move to remove someone from office in the midst of a crisis, because you'd have to bring someone new in and get them up to date to everything you need to do. You guys have any comments? Anything about that?
Trump is gonna win, no doubt about it. Because with the combination, with these lockdowns, business owners, a lot of white people, they're gonna leave cities in droves, like huge numbers. Gonna leave cities.
Texas population is gonna swell.
I was all over the South because all those places are affordable. Texas as well, though.
I also think a lot of states, but I think some states are gonna flip. I think New York has a chance to flip.
I thought that too, but I'm like, okay, maybe that's too optimistic. But I think it's not absurd. It's not absurd. It can happen. Like, we're going to definitely see states turn red that we never thought possible. I mean,
Florida did last time. Pennsylvania did last time.
No, but Florida is normally a swing state. But I'm talking about one state that we've never.
Florida voted blue. I think the last two presidents before before Trump.
Okay.
So that's what was that, 16 years?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they voted blue. For the last 16 years, they basically voted blue. And this is the first time they flipped. And they got a Republican governor or mayor over there now?
Governor, Ron DeSantis.
Yeah. You heard about what happened with the Democratic person over there? Where they found him inside of a hotel room with crack on him or whatnot?
Oh, no, it was the guy who was running against DeSantis.
Yeah.
What's his name? Andrew Gillum.
Yeah, they found him. Watching Don Lemon talk about that was so funny. because he was looking for any excuse. Same thing with the Jussie Smollett thing. He was looking for any excuse for why it is what it is. They found someone running for it. He was running for governor or Senate.
Governor.
He was running for governor of Florida, who was found in a hotel room with male prostitutes and cocaine inside of his system.
Right. And they were all white too.
And
he's one of those people who bitch about white people all day long. And you see that a lot. Like AOC, her boyfriend is white. Like all of them who bitch about white people.
AOC don't even live in New York. AOC lives in DC.
Yeah.
She lives in the high rise in DC.
It's just fucking.
Hey
heavy.
man, the man
did she win? When is her re-election up? This month, 23rd.
Right?
23rd.
23rd, yeah.
I ain't gonna say nothing.
People saying she might lose. I hope so.
To who?
Apparently, there's this. I think there's a senator running somewhere in New York. I think it's Ruben Diaz Jr. I think his name is.
Mm-hmm.
So he's a Democrat, Afro Latino. You know, new terms that just came out, but he's like pro-Trump. He's anti LGBT.
Oh shit.
Yeah, but he's like very popular. Like people are thinking he's gonna win the Senate for New York, even though he's not a Democrat. He's basically right wing. So I think that's interesting.
I think the chances of him winning is pretty slow, pretty slim. She's very very popular.
I'll show you the video I saw on it. I don't think it was against AOC, but it was some position. I think it was senator or something in New York.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we kind of got a point. What were we talking about? We're talking about the looting and whatnot.
I think we started there. Yeah.
Yeah, racial relationships are gonna get worse.
Yeah, no, and I was going on to explain that. Yeah.
No, you just explained that, and I was just basically saying my predictions for what's gonna happen after this. So I was saying that yeah, tons of people are gonna leave New York, or like New York, all blue states.
Oh yeah, I'm out of here.
100%. I was gonna talk to you about that.
I'm out of here 1,000%. I'm going back to Texas.
Texas?
I'm going back to Texas, bro. There's no state tax over there.
I know, yo.
So imagine this. Imagine, I'm not sure how much you get paid now, but I remembered for lifeguards. I mean, if minimum is 15, you've been a lifeguard for a couple of years, I would imagine it's 16, 17 for you right now. At a full-time rate, let's say that's about 30K a year, possibly 32K a year. After taxes, in Texas, you'd make about 40, 45 because there's no city tax. I mean, there's no state tax. There's no state tax.
Texas, all you need is, I think I looked it up, you need like 50K a year to be like a homeowner. Or to be able
to... Not even that. You could rent a home, and then within a couple of years, you can own that home yourself. You can rent a home over there. Right. Yeah. And that's basically having property, which value always goes up on.
I might join you. I'm not even going to lie. I'm definitely out of here. That's for sure. But a part of me is afraid that so much people are going to move to Texas that they'll turn it blue. So I don't want to set up roots in Texas and then fucking turn to a shithole.
I don't think Texas is turning blue.
You don't think so?
Especially after Beto.
You don't think so? Okay.
No, I don't think it's turning blue. I worked over there. I was working for a company that did door-to-door sales for AT&T. Hell of a job. I hate that job, by the way. And I've been to cul-de-sacs. I didn't even know what a cul-de-sac was. Yeah. I've been to trailer park homes. I've been to large houses. So I've seen every spectrum of people I could see in Texas while I was there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see it flipping. And the reason why I don't see it flipping is because so people usually have this idea that rednecks or Southerners are just the way they are for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
But let me tell you, me personally, I'm just speaking on my own personal experiences. Out there, I did not experience racism, personally, myself. 2, if anything, most times I either met someone or was greeted with someone, I was treated very kindly. They asked me who I was, they asked me my name, where am I from. We had the same exact dialogues that I would have commonly with you. So it seems that a lot of their reasoning is, or a lot of their politics is based off of I don't want to say sense, but off of knowledge and not of emotion.
Yeah.
I don't think, but I do think that people over there will not. I do think there's a chance that people over there will not hire you if they believe that you will be a dissenting voice in their company or whatnot or college, because over
Right.
there is very traditional. So
I
it
mean,
would be hard to get hired or to keep a job if you start spreading dissent within the state. I believe.
I'm pretty traditional myself, so that's not too hard for me. I low key was thinking Tennessee,
My cousin's over there in Tennessee. He loves it.
right?
Yeah.
One of those, but these blue states are going to turn to third world countries after this, because everyone's going to remember this, because they kept the lockdowns going too long, and now them condoning riots, they're fucked. So
Yeah.
they're fucked.
I'm not giving an opinion on this one either. Uh, Jose, you
Me?
think you staying in New York?
Politics? Oh, yeah, I'll stay in New York. I'm in a good ass situation. There's no reason for me to leave.
For now,
For now, yeah.
Yeah, for now, you never know. But right
Hey,
now,
Jose's younger than us, by the way. Jose, you're 20 years old,
yeah,
right? 2021.
like I'm in a good situation. My
okay.
photography business is apparently is gonna go back up as soon as the lockdown is over. Because I was supposed to do a future wedding, but then I was supposed to do a it's like I forgot what you call this type of photography. It's basically like basically the girl's pregnant. I gotta take pictures of her. I forgot what the fuck the proper name for that photography shit is called, but
Okay.
yeah, it's like
I know what you're talking about, but I forgot the name too.
I forgot the name of it. Shit, but like I'm getting clients. It's just that I was
And
supposed to get them, but
for those reasons, you think that relocating somewhere else, you wouldn't get the same amount of clients?
I don't know because the thing is that I'm building a following here. So
You
mean,
could Texas.
by
I'm
all
fine here.
means, by all
I mean,
means.
I mean, I'm happy.
You ain't know Veronica sings, and Veronica gets a lot of people. They call her to do weddings and whatnot. And she gets paid out the ass. And at a traditional place, the weddings are always happening. So your
Yeah, but
clientele would always be there. People have kids a bit younger, I believe, over there, because over here in New York, people aren't having kids at all. So
Yeah.
I mean, my clients like it's building up. Like it's sometimes it's product photography, um, it's teaching because I'm teaching this kids photography like online, which is kind of cool. And I'm like a teacher now. Then there are clients in New Jersey that's for the future. So I don't know. I mean, things right now like they're golden for me. Like I have no reason to leave. I'm in a perfect situation. Building is booming. Well, I'm about to be booming. So nah, I don't need got no need for me.
all right. So I think now is the perfect time for you to ask personal questions to Javon, so you can kind of get his viewpoints and he can probably explain things a little bit better.
I mean,
I pretty much know everything he's gonna. I don't know. I don't know everything he's gonna say, but I pretty much know what every viewpoint is gonna be. So I'm gonna take a step back. I'm only going to interject when I think that something's probably not explained the best way, like I did earlier.
Uh,
So this is not actually a personal question. So, um, okay, me personally, I am Hispanic. I'm not Afro Latino. I am Hispanic. I'm Dominican. I
mhm.
don't have any personal friends that are black.
I'm not saying anything
Like,
about this. This has nothing to do with me.
shit, I have no personal friends that are black, so I cannot ask them this question or how they actually feel. But because of George Floyd, because of what's happening, a lot of black people on Twitter are basically saying that black people are at a disadvantage from day one. They feel they have no opportunities. They feel that they will always be at a disadvantage, that this country was built for the white man. So what I'm trying to ask you is, do you feel that way? Do you go into a room and do you see a bunch of white people and you're like, I'm probably not going to get the job? Like, I need to understand that because that's something that I don't know what to think about it. So do you think you're at a disadvantage living in the United States? Do you think that's true?
Absolutely not. But I think the reason I don't think that way, maybe, because I come from like my family's Jamaican, so it's like there's a different context there. So I've been to Jamaica and I see what my life could have been like. So I think that gives me a different appreciation for America than most black people.
Good answer.
Mhm.
But beyond that, Like, because even when I was younger, because what really sparked that thought of me being conservative or like loving America was going to Jamaica. I still love Jamaica, but it made me see like, oh goddamn, this ain't just normal.
Yeah.
Like, 'cause this is like we live arguably like this is the lower rung of America, but it's still way better than being pretty much anywhere else.
Yeah.
But so for me, I know because they learn it in school. A lot of it is like just the culture of being a victim. Like they almost, I say they because I don't think like that, but they almost bond of being like, oh, woe is me, I feel sorry for me. Like you're not being a part of the club if you're not a victim. But nah, I don't feel that way at all. I find the more conservative I am, the more I get along with mostly Hispanic. Like at this point, most of my friends are like Dominican.
Yeah.
Like, since 2016, because if you like Trump, just people aren't just not gonna fuck with you after that. So since 2016, like now, even because I've been on swim teams and shit, so mostly that's Dominican. I'm a lifeguard, mostly Dominican. So I
How
mean that's
was that swim team mostly Dominican? I think me and Ish were the only Dominicans on the swim team.
Hispanics,
Hispanics.
Will you
Dominican, Puerto Rican, and shit.
would you feel differently if you were at a job and it was just mainly white people? Will you feel that you're only being hired because you're black? Like, because
See
this is
that
what we're saying. Because listen, I feel a similar way with you when it comes to because there's people that feel that since I'm a minority, it's the same thing for me, and I'm like, I lived in DR for 10 years. I wouldn't fucking go back to DR if you fucking forced me. You will
yeah.
have to force me to go back. I'm not living in DR. I don't give a fuck. I'm happy here. Like I don't see myself having any disadvantages, but I'm asking you because I'm Hispanic, I'm not black. I wanted to know if there was something there. Like, do you feel when you go into a store like, oh, people are looking at you weird? Do you believe in white privilege? That's something that keeps popping up. What is white privilege to you? Do you think that exists?
I don't like. I mean, I nah. Especially these days, hell no.
Wait,
Why?
before we continue, I think that right now we should define privilege first.
Yeah, this is a question. I don't know what the fuck. Explain what the fuck is white privilege to me.
Wait, first, before he explains his viewpoint of it, maybe he needs to understand what your viewpoint of what white privilege could possibly be, so he can give you
Yeah.
a clear answer first.
Again, just to make sure, I am not 100% sure what's the actual definition of white privilege. This is just what I am seeing. It keeps being brought up. This is what I'm asking you because I have no fucking clue. I just want you to educate me, basically. From what I'm hearing, white privilege is if, let's just say, if I was white, if you and me walk into a store, I am not going to be looked as a potential threat or someone that's going to rob a store, but you are. You know, that's let me see if I find another example. Um, I will be given the benefit of the doubt if I'm white versus you. If you're black, you're not going to be given the benefit of the doubt.
Basically,
Yeah. So is that a true definition? Am I off of something? Because it's just, I recently got into Twitter and it's just, bro, that shit is overwhelming. I'm done with Twitter. Like I've been there for 6 weeks. I'm done. That shit's just too fucking much. You're out of your damn mind.
Yeah, I dead ass put a limit on all my apps.
Yeah, I couldn't.
I have an hour. I have an hour altogether. I think I only use it for Twitter so I can get news things. That's it.
I tried it, bro, but it's just, bro, it's like these people change like this.
It's overwhelming.
they really do.
I was like, yo, bro, I'm done. I can't do this. But anyways, yes, white privilege. That's what I'm hearing. That's the definition of white privilege. Is that the definition of white privilege? And do you agree with that definition?
I would say most people probably would agree with that, but I don't. I don't believe that. I mean, yeah, I would say no.
How about you, Sam? White privilege? What is your opinion on it? This is something I truly have I don't know what the fuck to think.
Does it exist?
Yeah, do you think it exists?
Okay. This is gonna be hard for me because I'm not trying to dodge the situation because I believe that to say something is white privilege, it must pertain to all white people, correct?
Right?
According to them, yes.
So, I mean, any white person could have walked into that store looking bummy, raggedy, or whatever, and Javon could have walked into that store with a suit on, and they would have questioned him instead of the white person. Is basically what you're stating.
From what I'm learning, that is the definition. Yes.
But I'm asking if that's the question.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I'm trying to. That's what I'm trying to say. At that point, I would say that people have biases that is sometimes racially discriminate and sometimes class discriminate. So it would depend, because if they don't say something about Javon because he's wearing a suit, and that white person is basically in rags with tattoos and a swastika on his forehead, and you say something to him, and he clearly doesn't have money, would that be something of class privilege at that point?
Yeah.
And it's not my place to tell a person how to either feel, why they have their biases in the first place, and for me to interpret their bias as the only bias that exists within a group of people.
Like, to me,
that's my answer. It's kind of a cop out, and I know a lot of people are gonna view it as a cop out, but I think that's the best way to word it.
Because I'll be honest, if I pay attention to the way someone dresses more than the color of the skin,
I think that's more true for people as well.
Because if let's just say Javon walks in with a suit, nice fit, but then some bum comes in looking all weird, smelly and shit, I'm gonna pay attention to that bum. What the fuck is he trying to do? He looks like a crazy person. But that's just
that. Imagine someone came in with some high waters. I never found someone inside some high waters threatening in life.
What the fuck is a high water?
Like high waters is when your ankles show when you're wearing pants.
Oh yeah, those fancy.
Oh, remember not doctor. Remember Mr. Finkelstein from school? Yeah. He wore short shorts. So he just who wears short shorts? Yeah, if someone walks into a store like that, I'm not gonna find a guy threatening. He might be a pervert though. I might think, this guy's a pervert. He wants everybody to sing his ding-a-ling. But I'm not sure if that person is. I'm gonna stop that person for anything.
Yeah. Okay. So, because mainly my questions are about that. Like, do you feel that you are at a disadvantage? Like, do you find yourself going for a job and you feel like, or like, let's just say you go to a job interview and you see a bunch of white people and you got the job and you see just a lot of white people around you. Does that bother you? If you're the only black person there, if you're the minority there? Because I know you weren't a swimming team, but it was mainly Dominicans. But Dominican black, that's the minorities. You cool with it? I'm guessing that's how I would have feel.
I mean, but I'm a weirdo regardless, so it doesn't really bother me in that way. Because I kind of always feel like I don't, not really anymore, but like this is the way I've thought about it for a long time. Like if you boil down your personality, I don't care what race you are, like you could make yourself a weird person. You know what I don't know if I'm explaining it right, but I don't know. I'm comfortable regardless of what.
Yeah, pay attention to. I mean,
I'm around Dominicans all the time. It's cool. I'm around white people, no problem. Like people are people, so it doesn't really matter to me.
Yeah,
and two, I just feel like
go. Yeah, go.
All right, so I feel like a lot of the time, the complaints I hear about white people is basically,
is just their skin color.
No, it's like how they feel about me. I don't care how a next man feels about me. Like if you're not stopping me from getting mine in life, then like, I don't care if you live or die. I don't give a shit. If I could get mine, what does it matter what you think about me? Like it's another thing I hate is just such a weakness to be complaining about how white people feel about you all the time. It's fucking pathetic. But that's how I see it.
I relate to this, man. I thought you said it was gonna be all radical and shit.
I was expecting. I didn't say anything about radicalism. I said that's what I'm saying.
Like I feel like my views.
I said that. First, I've been preaching for a minute to both you guys that most people are in the middle. Most people Most people agree on 90% of things. It's just at the extremes where they disagree on topics like life and death, such as abortion and whatnot, is where people start disagreeing vehemently. It's never about something akin to Like no one, like you're not gonna see like a strong argument for like tax on people. Everyone's gonna say, "Yeah, I want to keep my money in my pocket." No one ever in life has ever said, "You know what? Take all my money." Virtually everyone's gonna agree on that. It's stances like abortion, or let's say corporate tax, because that's the extreme of wealth. Stuff like that is what people are gonna start vehemently disagreeing on. Besides the government, to me personally, most people are in the middle. Most people don't give a fuck if you shit on the road or if you piss in the creek, but they care if you piss in their creek or their street. That's the issue. At the extremes, or when it becomes personal, is where people divulge, and that's where people get these tribalistic forms of how government should be. And if you disagree with that form of government, then heads off. Like it's time to decapitate you.
No, man,
Can we get into those topics?
Yes. Wait. Before we leave, okay. The last one is systematic racism or oppression. I think systematic.
Not systematic. Is it systematic? Institutionalized. Institutionalized. I think that's the word.
So I've been seeing on Twitter that I'm off of that shit. That basically Black-owned businesses are being denied loans from banks. Black people are not being allowed to own homes.
Right.
And that the reason that Black people are the way they are is because their neighborhoods are not being funded, because they're being funded by the taxpayers in their area. Right. And since the taxpayers in their area cannot afford that much, then the teachers do not get paid as much. The equipment that they have is not as good. Is basically saying that Black people are being put down by the system.
Well, before Javon jumps on top of that, let me just mention a couple of those things.
One more thing before you go. This is me. I'm honestly curious about all this stuff. I have no facts to it. It's just something I'm seeing. I want to get your guys' opinion. I'm ignorant to a couple of these things because
I know, and I understand that. That's somebody explaining to you.
Yeah,
that's I'm trying to explain a lot of it to you.
My whole thing was like, well, if your neighborhood sucks, how about you move? That's the first thing I thought. I don't know if it's
a lot of people can't afford to do that.
Yeah, so educate me. Go ahead.
Okay, so we're taxes, right? So the idea is that, or what a lot of, let's say, liberal leaning states have done is that they've increased taxes for that, and the idea that they peddle or push towards the populace of that state is that if we raise taxes and we get more money, we can invest that money. Oh, Javon, is there music around you?
Oh, my bad.
Mute yourself real quick, if anything.
Should be good now, right?
Yeah, we should be good now. Hopefully you don't get copyrighted because of the music, though. I doubt it, though. But they push the narrative that we increase taxes, your institutions or your environment will get better, right? 80 years, close to 80 years. Democratic leaning states, blue states, have been run by Democrats, and they've been collecting taxes for about 80 years. The living quality in a lot of these places hasn't improved with the added money from the taxes, apparently. So the question. So either the question has to change, or the way these people are acclimating the money is wrong. So the question will have to change to: is it the money that's the problem, or is there another problem? And the issue with the money is, for that question are these states that are collecting this money acclimating the money and using it in maybe malpractice, or just not putting the money in the general areas? Is the questions that I would ask. And now I'm pushing it back to Javon.
Okay, wait, hold up. By money, you mean what the government is using?
Taxes.
Yeah. Actually, that leads to something else. But continue, Javon, and then we can go to that.
I was just gonna say, through this COVID shit, if that hasn't taught you how fucking inefficient the government is at doing anything, like look how long it took for people to get their stimulus checks or get their unemployment. The government is like, they make a bunch of promises that the government just literally cannot do.
Wait. But how does the fact of the stimulus check and a pandemic express how our government is functioning at its
No,
worst points?
it's inefficient
Wait,
at handing out.
where did Jose go? Oh, there he goes. Come right back.
It's
My
inefficient.
camera's that's the camera. This one.
Okay.
It's inefficient with dealing with money.
How so?
Because it's a simple task, and it took them so long to get people paid, and like such stress circumstances. They had old computers. At least that's what they're claiming. Why blue states are taking so long to give people money? They like shit that should have been updated had it been in the free market. Don't get updated because there's no incentive to change it. Like if the company doesn't change with the times, they go out of business. The government, they never suffer consequences for the bad decisions that they make. They can make bad decisions. It's like, oh well, and they just go about it like nothing ever happened. Does that make any sense? Or no?
I mean, I hear the point you're making. I think my question is more focused on the fact that a pandemic, one, is it's not something you can just predict to happen. And what people were updating their systems and software for was for future business and future business ventures. Because before the whole pandemic, I
Right,
think me both know, all three of us know that our economy was at the highest it's ever been ever in history.
right.
So how my question to you would be, how as a government can you be prepared for something that took the entire world by storm? No one was ready for it.
No, I'm not. First of all, Corona is fake. But second of all, I'm not saying that I blame them for the virus or anything. I'm just saying, like, how's your computer system? From what they were saying, how's it 40 years old? I get it if you don't
Well,
have
who
the
said that?
latest model.
Who said that?
That's what Trump was saying. So how is because the government they were more efficient at handing out the the stimulus checks than the unemployment. So because their systems were so old, because in a regular year they maybe get like a few, maybe 10, not 10,000. I forgot the number, but a very low number. Versus
Mm-hmm.
now they're dealing with millions, which
Mm-hmm.
is understandable. But how is your computer system 40 years old? You know what I'm saying? I get you don't
But
have the latest model.
which states had these issues? Are you talking about the federal government had 40-year-old
I'm talking
computers?
about the local
Local
government.
governments, and
Yeah.
the
So
places that had 40-year-old computers, were they rural areas or were they places like New York City?
No, New York City.
well, I
That's why
know
it took
that the
people so long.
checks they did take a while to get. Like there were some errors here and there from the people from what I'm hearing for some of the people that got them. The other thing with the unemployment was there was only a limited amount of money for unemployment, from my understanding of it. There are a couple of
Like,
businesses that filed for unemployment, and there was a bunch of rules, and there was a limited amount of money as well. So it's basically whoever can do it first basically gets it.
I mean, from my understanding, it wasn't an issue of them not having money; it was handing it out. And I applied for it the minute this shit happened, and I
Mhm.
just got it like 2 days ago.
With your stimulus check?
Unemployment.
I have to apply for it, by the way. I keep forgetting.
Yeah, you better start getting to it. I mean, I guess it's different from some people because I know some people got it like this. Like I know
Yeah,
someone
like, even me too. When I applied for my stimulus check, I got it pretty quickly.
because even the I was talking about the unemployment. I know
Unemployment.
some people got unemployment right away. They actually,
I think it just depends, honestly.
I, yeah, because I know from some private businesses that they well, they were basically some photographers apply for unemployment, but it's really hard to apply for unemployment when you're a photographer because they're your jobs are basically let's just if you do a
It's
wedding,
freelance.
so it's a lot. There were a lot of more caveats to it, so a lot of them didn't get anything, or if they got anything, it was just like delayed as
Nothing.
fuck. Because other businesses basically went first.
Hmm.
But I think
Which I think is fair, and well, maybe not fair, but reasonable. Maybe not fair, but the logic about certain things could stand. If if you can get information of someone's taxes and how much money they bring into the state already, and they bring in a decent amount of money, and right now they can't work, I think those people should probably not. I'm not say prioritize, but I would understand why someone would prioritize someone that brought in a lot of money for the state in the first place to get their checks first, because these are possibly people that's going to be using their money to build something in the future as well again.
Right.
Or people that worked a lot of
depends.
hours and stuff like that. Apparently, unemployment goes off a third of what you usually make in a week, right?
So I know someone's making fucking heavy money.
Plus with the stimulus check on top of that, 'cause I know the government's giving you 600 plus, whatever you did. Let's say, for example, someone like me, if depending, I don't want to go off based off of numbers. I'll give you a round number to give you an average. I'm not gonna give you the exact number, but let's say for someone like me that maybe when I was in Texas, but since Texas don't have no state taxes, I can still do my taxes over here in New York. Somewhat like a place like Texas, I'd say around the ballpark of $1,200 a week. So around the ballpark of $1,200 a week is about like $400 plus the $600. So it's basically about $1,000 a week. Or I'm not sure how employment works, how much you get paid off of that. But let's say, for example, someone that was making $200 a week, they only get a third of that plus 600. So a third of that of the 200 is basically like what, $60, $70 plus 600. So you're only getting paid 670. I'm pretty sure they're focused on they could be focused on the people that acquired more money, so they don't make any further mistakes with people that later on. There's a whole bunch of irregularities when you're dealing with a big pool of people. We're talking millions, tens of millions that are displaced right now.
No, I don't think
it is kind of hard to do. Huh?
Because I don't think it worked like that. Because I know someone that was not really making a lot of money, and she got a big fat unemployment check. I was like, God damn, sis.
How old is she though?
She's younger than me. She's probably like 19.
I don't know then. Is she lying on her taxes or something?
Nah, I'm stacking right now, so yeah. Like that UI hit. So I'm fucking about to post a money phone type shit. Like I'm balling. I'm balling right.
I wish I was back in Texas, bro. I'll be fucking balling. Holy shit.
know.
Dipping something. That's what I'm doing.
Huh?
Be balls dipping something. Fuck you talking about? I'll be working. Yeah, I'll be working. All right.
Yeah, let's get away from that. I feel like what were we supposed to go into? I feel like we're missing something.
We was about to go in. Oh yeah.
I had a follow up.
Did right? Oh, what's the question?
It was there was a hashtag going defund the police. I don't know if you guys saw it. I saw it. I ignored it at first because I thought it meant like defund the police, like have no cops. That's what I thought it meant. And I was like, well, this is stupid. But apparently it was to, so apparently when there's a police reform or there's a new thing they gotta learn, the state dumps a lot of money into it, like millions, billions of dollars for training. So people are saying that money, since that is not working, that money should go to communities that really need it the most. So they can help communities that, help struggling communities, because they feel that maybe that will help the situation a lot more.
I mean, I can answer this one. You want me to handle this one, Javon?
What's your take on it? Go
Go ahead.
I'll take it in. Dumping money into communities hasn't helped for the last 80 years. Right? So we almost have close to a century of people dumping money into communities to see if it would work. Education is lower now than it was before. Poverty rates now, I'll say before the Trump era, were basically higher. And so it didn't work. Right? So and also the logic is this: since the police are mistreating us, don't fund them to train them so they can mistreat us bad some more. You want them to get trained. You don't want them to be bad cops no more. They need to get trained. That would be the genuine or the kind of idea or road I would go with it. But if they don't get the training and you're against the police brutality and whatnot, would you be concerned with the idea that maybe since they're not getting training, more of what you just protested would happen? And if more of what you just protested just happened and people are dumping money into your communities, another riot would happen. It would just be one big circle, one big cycle of what happened.
all the training is not working. Their argument is, look at all this fucking training, but it keeps happening. So it's like, okay, we keep training you, but you keep making the same mistake.
Wait, what's the number? There's one cop for every 900 people in America.
Mm-hmm. I don't even know.
It's something crazy like that. There's one cop for I think every 1,000 people.
So we need more cops. That's what you're saying.
Not even that. I'm not saying that we need more cops. I'm saying whenever a pool of things get bigger, irregularities happen more often.
Right. They're saying less cops, less police shootings, basically.
I'll go back to the stimulus check. If only New York got the stimulus checks, do you think there'll still be an issue with all the stimulus checks? There'll still be some, but as far as I'm aware, all across the country, when the pool of people is larger that need certain things, more irregularities happen. Things that shouldn't happen more often.
All right, so when you factor in that these communities tend to have high crime, they need those amount of cops. And that's the thing. That's the other thing I don't like about this conversation is that people never want to talk about that. Huh?
I wouldn't say that either.
No, but if there's a lot of crime in your neighborhood, you need the cops. So again, and doing that shit would just further sink blue states into the sea. And these motherfuckers are the ones who can't afford to leave a lot of the time. So they just be fucking themselves if they were to do that.
So I guess the question will be, what is the answer? What would be the solution to this? Because you could say, well, you could try to invest in helping the community and police officers have a better relationship. You could say that I know there's something apparently in the police code. I wish we did that interview with Elba because I was going to ask her this. But apparently, another thing is, her husband's a police officer. We spoke about that yesterday. Yeah, one of the things is that do not let a cop die. That's one of the main things. And some people are saying that should be protect and serve. That should be the main thing. I know that your life is. I'm not saying your life doesn't mean anything, but you should protect above all else. Instead of protecting yourself.
Sure, protecting other people is above all else. But some people still have a family to come home to. They have to protect themselves as well.
Yeah, but the argument was made for military officers. So one of the things I don't know where exactly it was, but basically it was that they wanted to build relationships with the people in the Middle East. So instead of going into a door, guns blazing, even though there could be danger, they decided instead of doing that, how about we go in, let's not shoot first until we get shot first. Because if we just start going in and we just start killing people that sometimes are innocent, then that's going to ruin our relationships with them. So let's take a risk. Let's take a risk.
I see your point. And I'm going to keep it a whole stack. Even though I understand your point, fundamentally, to me, as a personally, to me, it's flawed. The flaw to me in that statement is this. I could die. I can never see my family again. I'm in a place where I don't know who the enemy is. Mm-hmm. And you're hoping me being nice is going to stop me from getting killed.
But I guess the argument to that would be you're the cop. You are the officer. This is what happened to this female. Cops went into the wrong house and they just started shooting. Mm-hmm. That mentality, if that was the mentality of we're not gonna shoot,
here's the caveat.
I understand. Those you're taking a risk.
No. That's not that. The variable is this from both cases. The variable is going in somewhere you shouldn't be in the first place and shooting. That's the variable for both places. Because you're talking in one scenario, you're talking about people in Afghanistan or the Middle East knocking on doors instead of busting in and shooting. Mm-hmm. How about don't fucking knock on doors and don't bust in and shoot? Set up a system in place where you can confirm things first before you go anywhere. I think you need investigators on the investigators. That's what I believe. I think that's the issue for me anyway. I think that if you were to dump money into the police force, let's say, I would suggest hiring people whose responsibility it is to monitor police. And for if anything goes wrong, the police and is their ass on the line. Holding people accountable is, to me, would be the smartest thing to do. For an instance where the person that just suffocated George Floyd and murdered him in front of a group of people, he had about 12 things on his record already of malice, right? And I suggested on the podcast we did before, his family should sue the city because that officer was still allowed to work after having priors, either killing someone unarmed or
you know what's ironic about that?
What?
You know who got him off for
Who?
those priors? It was Amy Klobuchar.
Oh yeah.
So Democrats create all these problems and then come around and pretend to be the solution. It's fucking crazy. But
How you know she got him off? I never heard about this.
I think she was the maybe the senator there at the time. I forgot even where I heard that, but I know that's a fact.
Oh, I got to check that out. I never heard of that. That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
But I think with a lot of these issues,
if it's true, vote her out. Vote her out. Get her the fuck out of here.
Right.
The Blasio got to fucking go too, and Cuomo.
Oh my god. Personally, I don't know. I think Cuomo is not that bad to me. Like de Blasio is god awful.
De Blasio is the governor. Cuomo is the who?
No, de Blasio is the mayor. Cuomo.
Remember, I don't follow politics. So
I know.
they both look alike.
Cuomo dog shit too. To me, anyway. And it's not how he handled the coronavirus. It's how he handled policing of New York when the riots are going on.
Right.
And de Blasio is even worse. Is even worse. Listen, bro. They found him jogging across the Brooklyn Bridge and Battery Park when everybody was supposed to be shut down. That's one. Right. But then he had people arresting people for being outside. Also, he stopped an entire Jewish funeral, a gathering of people, peaceful gathering, by the way, which is legal, which you cannot stop. Gathered at a funeral because someone died. He threatened to arrest all of them. But then when the what's the name of those jets that flew over the Hudson River?
The Blue Angels?
The Blue Angels. When they flew over the Hudson River and there was a gathering there, not one person was touched. Not one person was prosecuted, not nothing. Right? So to me, his focal beam on issues sucks. It sucks.
They basically admit that this coronavirus shit, at this point, and the thing I like about the riots is that the further it drags on, it just proves that coronavirus is bullshit.
No, it doesn't. That doesn't true. That's
okay.
Also...
Before we go into that, we can go into that. Because that leads into conspiracy theories, so we can do that. From what I'm noticing with Cuomo, is that he likes having the popular opinion or the popular like he likes being on the people's side. The reason I say that is because
Cuomo wasn't popular for a flat minute. I'm sorry. I'm interrupting. Mute.
No. So one of the things that I saw like at first from Twitter was that he was like, I'm for the protesters, which that's fine. Like you're pro the protesters. We're all pro the protesters. But I guess what I'm trying to say is just like when the looting started, hey, could you knock him the fuck out?
Like, hold on, bro. Dickhead. To me, he's a dickhead.
I'm for the protesters. I love it.
I'm for the protesters too.
When the looting started, I would like to see some cops banging some doors, but I think the cops are in a horrible situation too, bro. Because if they use force, they're gonna be blasting social media.
But this isn't a. Hold on, 1 second. Because and this is. I'm trying to work.
I get it. It's not a time for.
I've been right now. I've been trying to dodge the eggshells on the floor a little bit. I might step on one. This for a smidgen. You have to imagine as a cop, or as any person that might have gone to the military at some point in their lives, what happened in the streets of the Bronx and Fordham Road, what happened in Manhattan and I think it was downtown Brooklyn and Harlem, was akin to something similar that could be found at war or Afghanistan, where you don't know who your enemies are. Your enemies are hiding behind peaceful people and throwing shit at you. Right.
Yep.
Now, a delayed push towards anything slows everything down.
What?
Taking your time to quell anything slows everything down. You have to decide what you're going to do. Are you about to be, is this going to be a PR stunt? Or are you going to protect everybody? Those are your choices. You have to pick a choice. And it sounded like, because in the midst of looting, people were tweeting, I'm for the protesters, which everyone's for the protesters. No one's saying that you shouldn't be for the protesters. We're asking about the looters, which is something a lot of people point fingers at Trump about, that he's not focused on certain things and whatnot. Right? Like, so when he suggests the military, and I'm not saying that's a defense, I'm saying this as a demonstration or showing of hypocrisy amongst a certain group of people. When he calls for military use, like either you fix this problem or I am, is deemed as dictator-like. But when an opposing force, such as Cuomo or de Blasio, first stand on the side of, yes, you guys do what you gotta do, express yourselves and whatnot, but then institute curfews, and you there's plenty of videos of New York cops being a little bit more aggressive, and some people, not all people, some people in New York saying this is what should have happened in the first place. None of the businesses should have been looted in the first place.
Yeah. Because, you know what I mean? Like, it should have been loot. If protesters, go ahead into fucking 12 a.m., 3 a.m., whatever the fuck you want. Listen, protest, go ahead. No problem.
And it also is the time they picked to announce the curfew. They chose to pick the curfew. They chose to announce the curfew at 11 a.m. And then, yeah, that's too early. You need time right before nighttime to say your curfew. Because if you say that 11 a.m. and all those people get out there, they can't leave. But if everyone gets an alert while they're in the city, hey, yo, nigga, here comes some curfew. Get the fuck out of here. People got stuck on the bridge. You had AOC tweeting, I'm on my way over there right now. You live in D.C. How you over there? How there's no pictures of her on the bridge. Nowhere. People couldn't go on the train.
They were blocking the trains.
They was blocking the trains.
And
hundreds of arrests were happening.
And then it was fuck your curfew. That was
and then boom, it's like, but you allow these people to do certain things and then you took it away from them. Yeah. What the fuck do you expect them to do?
Because it should have been, I'm for the protesters, but the looters gotta go.
This is de Blasio's last term anyway. I think this is Cuomo's last term anyway.
Nah, there's no term limits for governor.
Okay, well, this is de Blasio's term limit anyway, and they're arguing right now what to do. And they both decided to do the same thing. They both decided to be pussies in this situation.
That's what I'm saying. They were for the people, the popular opinion. They care what the people think about them. No, but I don't think there's time for that.
No, I think they were doing PR stunts.
Yeah, but the people care for them. That's what I mean, right? Like they're trying to go with the popular opinion.
Sure.
But when it was the other way, because notice that they're allowing them to attack businesses while after they left businesses closed for 3 months. So if you just a minute ago, if you opened up your business in the middle of a quote unquote pandemic, that's dangerous. You're risking everybody's life just from you operating a business. But meanwhile, massive crowds of people, of strangers, can be all together all of a sudden. Oh, there's no problem there.
Yeah,
they don't even talk about it. They don't even talk about it in the news anymore. It's not even in the news.
They didn't allow people to go to their businesses.
Right.
What was Cuomo's thing? I'm aggressively telling people they can't work.
Right.
Aggressively. He'll keep repeating aggressively, as if like he had like a hand, like you darn kids.
Like he's our dad. Like, you know what? Now you guys can go outside now.
Yeah, I was aggressively saying all these things about whatever, right? To protect the people. Right. Was the guys of why they did whatever they did.
So let's get into
now people's property is in danger, and your message, albeit it's going to be the popular message, and I don't fault you for saying the popular message, I'm faulting you for not being able to do your job. Your job is to, as governor of the United States, as governor of New York City, your job as mayor of New York City is, number one, the first job you have when you swear into office is to protect people's rights. That's it. If you do that, you'll go down as a decent mayor or governor, no matter what state you're in. If you fail to do that, then you are a failure of a mayor or governor. It's really that simple. We can throw another occupation at it. If your job is to be a lifeguard and swim and save people, and you can't swim, and you drown too, you failed at your job.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing why I don't say popular opinion. It's because it's not really about what's popular. It's more so about what serves their agenda, and their agenda is to destroy the economy so Trump doesn't get elected. Because both times they wanted to destroy businesses. So people working is bad because if the economy opens back up, it's going to make Trump look good.
Okay, so we're going to conspiracy theories.
Just dance.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, I like to welcome the whole Lidat podcast into conspiracy theories. Okay, continue.
Let's go. So should we start with Corona first? How is a conspiracy theory, or should you want to go with Javon? Because I know he want to talk about Corona.
Let's talk about just going. I don't really want to talk about Corona per se, but it's really just the fact.
We all pick a conspiracy that we're gonna say, right? I'm gonna talk about Antifa and Anonymous. That's what I'm talking about. And coronavirus.
I mostly want to talk about the riots. It's connected to the coronavirus, but I just want to talk about what I think is going to happen towards November. Why I think everything is happening right now.
Okay.
The way it is.
Jose, you have anything?
I guess I can go a little bit crazy with not a coronavirus, with a Democrat conspiracy theory. Okay. Let's have fun. I'll start it off. So basically, the conspiracy theory is that the Democrats
Javon, can I see your face, bro? We're on a podcast. So everybody can see each other's faces and shit.
All right. Basically, the Democrats saw George Floyd's death as an opportunity to just make Trump look horrible, right? The way they did this is because if you really think about it, nobody did anything. There was no looters, rioters, or protesters when the girl died in New York, when the cops came in and they just killed her in her house, and she was a nurse. There was nothing with that, right? Comes to George Floyd, I don't know where some buildings in Minneapolis starts burning down. Then we find some bricks here and there that apparently they were planted by cops. So basically, the theory is that the Democrats knew how Trump was going to react and was going to be aggressive, and he was going to pull to his base, right? That's why he did the whole thing with the church and the upside down Bible, right? Because they knew he was going to do that, and they were like, "Oh shit, we know what he's going to do as soon as shit goes off. People are going to hate him. He's not going to be a leader. People are going to view him as the worst president on the planet of Earth. So let's use this death. Let's start burning some shit in Minneapolis. Let's use Antifa to rile them up. Let's plant some bricks here and there. There were footage of Antifa members. I don't know if they're Antifa members paying black people to do some looting. This goes back to what Sam is saying, but it's completely two different things.
I'll go to my theory after.
Yeah. Theory after. One of the things that Sam was saying was that if I go into a Target and I break into it and I start looting to it, but the community there is primarily black or Hispanic or whatever, in the cameras, it's going to seem like it's just Hispanic people and black people doing that shit, right? So you do that, you make it seem like it is the black people going crazy. And
let me explain that one part just a little bit more.
Explain it in your
that one part. So I'm adding to your thingy. So the idea is this, Javon. The idea is if you don't see the first person that breaks into a property or whatever, right? But you have cameras. And the thought experiment is this. If you break into any place in any community let's say the community is predominantly white, community is predominantly Dominican, the community is predominantly black. You break in, and looting starts, and you're the owner of the property. What do you see on your camera? Who do you see on your camera? Now, the answer usually would be, if people thought about it correctly, is going to be, the answer is people of that community. Not black people, not white people. It's people of that community. But when you do that, what are you doing? You're manipulating views of certain things. Okay, continue, Jose.
So Democrats burned the buildings down. They maybe talked to Antifa, or someone talked to Antifa, because there's also videos of Antifa members, started breaking shit. Like they were the ones starting the whole breaking.
I'm getting a bottle of water.
Some of them started the whole breaking thing. And you basically just scale the situation as much as you basically add just fuel to the fire. That's basically what you're doing. Until it is to the point where the president needs to start saying, I'm going to bring the army in. You got to stop the looters. You know what I mean? Like it makes him look bad. It makes him look like a horrible person. So now the popular vote is completely against him. And it's like a chess move against Trump. And that's the Democrats. Now, do I think that that's smart to do that? I think that's a little bit too much. But I mean, I like the theory. I fuck with it.
It makes perfect sense. It's going to backfire. Because typically when there's chaos, people want order. So people vote more Republican. But that's what they want to do. Or they're trying to, like, this is a very emotional time, especially for like true believers. No matter what you say to them, they just love the Democrats. So they're trying to galvanize more support from them because they know that Joe Biden's not a strong candidate. Which is why I think the fact that homie, what's the cop's name who killed George Floyd?
Like David Chavez,
The White Devil?
Yeah, the white guy.
Whatever his name is.
The White Devil.
Something about something about that is suspicious. The fact that he knew he was being recorded and that like was unfazed is so strange to me.
My question to you guys is this: who recorded him? I have not seen. So I read a report that the person that recorded him is in psychotherapy or something like that, but I haven't seen a picture of the person that recorded him.
I have no idea.
As a point to that theory that you're stating, right? And people are assuming it was like a group of people of the murder of George Floyd. But I've only ever seen one angle of the entire recording. I've never seen a different angle.
There was two angles.
But the second angle was from like what do you mean? I saw one from an outside camera, like a security camera.
Oh, okay. There's three angles. Okay. So there's the angle of basically the popular one, the one that we all saw. There's the angle of the security cameras, and I also saw another angle where it's basically from behind the cops. So there's the girl that is recording, and then there's the other person on the other side. That's another angle I saw.
But do you see the other person recording? That's the question. So if you would imagine in a group like this, where something like this is happening, at certain points, every time something like this happens, people surround the cops. Correct?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So if everyone's recording, you would be able to see someone else recording from the other side.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't see that in any of these clips. Even from the top view perspective, you don't see the person that records the initial video that went viral.
Okay, so I got the video. Let me give me a few.
Look at the camera view of the top camera view. You don't see the person that records the initial problem.
No, you don't see that. And in this video,
that is pretty interesting.
Because one of the theory basically lies that George Floyd died in the ambulance, and some calls were being made immediately. They were like, "Oh shit, something's about to pop off. Like this officer just did this shit. Something serious is gonna happen." Some calls went around. And then someone Democrat field or whatever got contacted, and they were like, "You know what? This is perfect. Biden fucked up saying what he said with Charlemagne. Let's spin this somehow into Trump is a fucking anarchist, maniac, Hitler, some shit."
They're showing pictures of him with the Bible and Hitler and everybody else. I'm like, well, every president has used the Bible.
Exactly.
Taking pictures with the Bible.
Bricks out of nowhere. I saw a couple of videos from different states. They're just finding perfectly stacked bricks I saw a video of 2 police cars loading up bricks in a black van. I don't know if it's the same one you saw, because I'm pretty sure I saw 2 cop. I mean,
In
cars.
my video too, I saw two
Saw
people
two.
in uniform. I saw 2 people in uniform. I cannot confirm if they were police officers. All I can confirm is that the vehicle they seemed to be taking bricks out of didn't have any symbols that would represent police.
Mm-hmm.
And it seemed like to be like a pickup truck because they opened the back of the car to pull the bricks out.
Yeah.
I don't know if any police vehicle is built like that.
But wait, how do you get a whole pile of bricks out of a car in like an expedient amount of time? Do you know what I mean? Like
'Cause
that shit is heavy. I saw like them bricks are stacked high. So how do you do that in like, you know what I mean? Like that would take a long time
But
to
you
set up.
sometimes possibly you wouldn't need an expedient amount of time. All you would need to do is plant something when everyone's asleep, and when everyone wakes up, and you know if you know and you know where let's say a scheduled riot is about to happen,
Right.
where you can generate interest on social media and whatnot, and then you just have it planted there ahead of time. Because that's what happened in Dallas. A black man was passing by a thing of bricks with his friends, and he was
Uh-huh.
like, "Yo, there's not a construction site in place." And he recorded. He's like, "Yo, this is a setup. This is a setup. There's not a construction place in this whole area of Dallas. You gotta do better. You gotta do better."
There's also videos of white people just giving bricks to teenagers.
Yeah, and then black women are like, "Why the fuck are you giving people bricks for?"
Yeah.
Only
Because
only one group of people is spray painting right now. By the way.
Because I
Yeah.
saw another video where there's someone just breaking the bricks off the ground, and I thought that's how they got the bricks. They're just breaking bricks off the ground. But then it's just like, motherfuckers, what the fuck? That's a lot of fucking bricks. Like, how long were you there fucking hitting at that shit?
Yeah, but that just further proves that I don't think it was the cops who planted
And bricks aren't
it.
that expensive, by the way.
Yeah, I think the cops, they got stand down orders from the governors or the mayor, because all these are happening in Democrat areas. So they got stand down orders, and they're letting Antifa bust in the bricks, and they're the ones who are doing all the destruction. I mean, there's a lot of people are just taking advantage of the moment, but I
Yeah,
think
definitely.
Antifa are the main like antagonizers, and
All right.
they're the like military wing for the DNC, so they just do their bidding.
Also, you
Alright.
think Democrats have something to do with it? Then we can go with Sam's theory.
We'll go with Javon's next. I'll finish off with mine's.
All right.
Uh,
'Cause
So-
I think mine's isn't too much. And mine's is more of a timeline.
mhm.
Mine is
Okay.
more like plotting, hopeful thinking a little bit because I feel like it's a little bit too extreme.
Like I feel like so many things had to happen so perfectly for everything to make sense.
Me, I'm just asking questions, and the questions are gonna lead to is gonna have people thinking. But Javon, go. Let's hear your theory.
So
Business.
my theory, right, is they want to crush businesses to hurt the economy, so it makes Trump look bad. That was the initial plan with the coronavirus. And China also has an interest in this plan because they don't want Trump in the office because these trade deals are killing China. The way Trump is negotiating it, like at the beginning of the year, Trump, even before the coronavirus, China had the worst economic year they've had since like the last 60 years or something. So they have an invested interest in crushing the economy. That's why they told the World Health Organization, to lie to the American, to lie to everyone that it's not a big deal and to like damp it down. That's what Fauci was doing and all those people. So the virus come, they wanted to keep the lockdown going as long as they could to justify mail-in voting. And after like 5 or 6 weeks, that stopped working. People started protesting, and okay, fuck it. They eventually had to open up, but that was the plan. So now that it's looking like they can't really justify keeping the lockdown for that long, now they're encouraging people to break down, destroy stores, so it further hurts the economy. Because once we bounce back, we're about to see the greatest economic numbers we've ever seen. Because
Right.
it's an artificial stop and turn back on. So the economy is going to look like, that's only going to make Trump look good. Because he's going to have plenty reason to brag because of the great numbers we're about to have. And also, Biden just made the worst political gaffe you ever could make when he's like, "You ain't black if you don't vote for me."
Yeah.
So, and they're also a little worried because they see that Trump is doing well with Hispanics and blacks, according to the polling machine.
That's what I told. That's what I told Jose. Jose didn't really believe me.
Nah.
Right. I'm telling you.
I was telling Jose. I'll let you get back to the theory, but I was telling Jose that the people that are going crazy right now weren't people that's going to vote for him in the first place.
Right.
I'm like, and if you think, and I also said earlier in the podcast that people didn't think he was going to win in 2016. Every expert, every analyst, not one person I knew predicted that he was going to win.
Right.
Not a one, and he won. Right, and now I'm paying attention, and I'm looking at it now. I'm like, these people weren't going to vote for him in the first place. And also a lot of these people are still butthurt that Bernie lost.
Right.
On top of that, he's had the last 3 or 4 years to build a solid base. Not just push things to his already base, but to build a base with Turning Point America, with Candace Owens and PragerU, and these people just hitting the road and going to all the universities, and Candace Owens with the Brexit movement and stuff like that. And I've seen numbers. I've seen people
Right.
that they're quiet. They're quiet right now. They're not talking. They're not one of the loud people.
I'm seeing right now,
huh?
Because I'm seeing polls, left and right of just
but
losing by 9 points, 4 points.
Everyone that's doing the polls right now aren't the supporters. Everyone that's doing the polls right now are the people that want to be vocal right now. Which is where you have to kind of. So imagine you would have done a poll when the economy was at its highest. People that were detractors of Trump at that time, being the senators and whatnot, would all say, "Yeah, he's still going to lose." But you looked at the polling; all the polling suggested that he was at his peak at that time right now. But all of the detractors, like people, like just regular people, weren't speaking because they really had nothing to say at that point. People were talking about like other shit. They were trying to go talk about sports and whatever else is going on in the world. They weren't trying to talk about politics at that point. Now that a resurgency and the focus on politics is there, people are being vocal again. But you have to. It's a weird way of gauging and measuring. That just because a lot of people are being vocal doesn't mean that the loud people is everyone. When you hear a loud thunderstorm in your state, it's not raining across the entire country. And that's what a lot of people don't understand when it comes to these polls, when it comes to a lot of the numbers that you're seeing. I see what's her name? Taylor Swift get like 1 million something likes on her tweet. I see a lot of people getting 1 million likes on their tweet. I've also seen Trump for the last 3 or 4 years get 400, 500,000 plus retweets and likes every tweet he makes.
I mean, I guess we just have to wait and see.
Yeah, we have to wait and see. I don't know. Right now, I don't know. I don't know who's gonna win. I can't call it. Let's see. If it's mailing voting, he's gonna lose.
I mean, yeah, that's why he's trying. I even think then it's gonna backfire because with everything that's going on, I mean, maybe they could cheat with the mail-in voting, but I doubt that it's gonna pan out. But with everything else that happened, because this whole moment has really revealed a lot to everybody, I believe. So, like, we got the people who like gun sales have skyrocketed ever since the virus started, quote unquote virus. Gun sales have skyrocketed. The way that the governors were treating the lockdown, the way they're acting right now with these riots, all those things compounding, they're fucked. There's no way. There's no way that like the actions that they're taking are not the actions of confident people. Like the actions that they're like all these moves are very, very desperate. If they were in a good position, they would not be doing all this. So that's why I feel like there's just, and also like there's so much. I think Trump's base is hard to rock because there's so much invested in being a Trump supporter because I mean you've likely lost friends. People don't want to talk to you. Like if you're gonna jump off the Trump train, you need a good fucking reason. At least that's my take on it. So to shake, it's not just gonna be, oh, Trump said something today. Fucking
Yeah, that's not gonna. I was telling Jose that too. That's not gonna break his base.
right.
That's not gonna break his base because that's all people heard for the last 3-4 years. You got to think all of his supporters, all they heard for the last 3 to 4 years is Russia, rapist, corrupt. That's all they heard. And then he destroyed almost all those things. So it's like they don't care at this point.
And that's another thing. Peep, the minute the Russia investigation stopped, like a month later, coronavirus. This is all to take him down.
I think the coronavirus.
You know your theory?
Yeah.
All right. My turn to go through a timeline. All right. So I think my main thrust of this is about Antifa and Anonymous. All right. And the timing of certain things. Trump was elected into office in 2016. Right. At that time, the one idea that was being pushed in all medias, basically all over the media, social media, mainstream media, whatever you want to call it, was Russia. And before his election, rapists and Russia. Right. Now, my question to that is, what was Anonymous? Let's continue. Let's continue down the line. I think there was somewhat of an Antifa rally after that where it got violent, and he said something about it, and then that was in the news that he was being racist. Mm-hmm. Where was Anonymous during that? Then the Mueller investigation started happening. The Mueller started investigating. He spent about $20 million to look into Russian collusion. Where's Anonymous on that? Also, the documents that Anonymous leaked that was public info already in 2016 about the whole Jeffrey Epstein thing that went to court and was thrown away. The thing was dismissed. Was already there, which is now being heralded as a leak. Something that came out 4 years ago is being viewed as a leak now. And it's like, okay, let me just get past that for now. But Anonymous didn't say anything about that in 2016. Let's go to early December. Early reports of the coronavirus started happening beginning of December, where that's when the outbreak really started happening. We didn't find out about it until Taiwanese officials started spreading the information, and also a doctor out of China who mysteriously died of contact from the coronavirus. Young guy, by the way, made it public across the world. Right.
All right.
So this information was in China, and the greatest group of hackers, Anonymous, didn't say anything about it. When Trump put the travel ban and stopped China from coming over here, WHO was aware that at this point that people can transmit the virus to each other. At that point, people they kept saying, "Oh, you putting this ban is going to cause more harm than good." Word for word, what the director of WHO said. Was Anonymous during that? Was Antifa during this? No one was saying anything. Everyone and their mother was quiet. Mm-hmm. Trump beats the Russia investigation. His words, he's exonerated. Right? Which is ridiculous because no one inside American government can, exonerate themselves, or just there's no such thing as an exoneration within the American court system. Oh, I'm about to sneeze. Trying to get it away. Was Anonymous during that? People are put in lockdown for 3 months. Now, if you look at crime statistics, crime always spikes during the summer when things start getting hot.
Right.
People were kept inside their doors from winter through the spring, we're going into summer. Again, we're all crimes, you name them, murder, rape, everything goes spikes up during the summer.
Mhm.
And then the thing with George Floyd happens, and bricks appear everywhere. Anonymous doesn't talk when George Floyd gets murdered. They talk when the fire starts. They talk and they promote anti-Trump propaganda.
Mhm.
Now, maybe I'm bugging. I don't remember them attacking Trump when he was running for president. Do you remember that?
I'm surprised because I thought they were like kind of neutral.
That's what I thought too. This would be a peace-loving group, right?
Anonymous?
Yeah, anonymous.
I don't know about peace loving.
This basically would be just mutual. Just if something's wrong, something's wrong. If something's right, something's right.
Yeah, more anti-corporations and shit.
Sure.
I would say.
Yeah.
Now,
Peace loving.
since they've become vocal, they've published a paper that was public knowledge 4 years ago. They've suggested that he is a rapist, but they posted pictures of him with his daughter.
Yeah.
And a lot of other stuff. And all they've done is hack into police radios, which, I'm not gonna. It's not that difficult.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't really pay too much.
My question to everybody is as simple as, wow, what impeccable timing. And 2, who are they? And why did it come out when it came out? And when it came out, why did it hit us with stuff that's not of a group of hackers? I would assume would be able to post something that's irrefutable evidence of something, such as hacking into a camera or hacking into anything to show irrefutable proof of something happening in the world. So far, what I have seen, I'm not saying I've seen everything. So far, what I have seen, and I'm also not saying this as a point of defense towards any group within what I'm talking about. All I've seen is just not strong evidence towards anything. Almost opinion pieces.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
and I'm asking who is Anonymous with right now, and who is Anonymous right now? Are they still the same Anonymous from back then?
I don't think they are.
That's my only question. Every hacker, every prominent hacker that's ever hacked into anything always ends up working for the government. By the way, if you haven't known it, if you haven't known, there was a hacker in England that hacked into I think the NSA or something like that. Guess where he works now? There was a hacker.
Right.
There was a couple hackers in Florida and whatnot. They were doing stuff and they was hacking into the system. Guess where they work now?
Google.
Not even just Google. They work for the government. Not Google. They work for the government. So, Anonymous disappeared for 4 years. Not a single comment, comma, blip, nada. And they came on now. So my question is, just 2 questions. Are they still the same Anonymous that was there 4 years ago? And who are they? That's what I'm asking. Don't worry about the timing.
I mean, I don't really think they are that as influential as they once were. If there was really anything on Trump, like the media would be beating him over the head with it. If there was really something there, so that's kind of how I know what to ignore, what to pay attention to, and what not to.
Because even the media is pretty much ignoring.
Yeah.
Pretty much ignoring whatever Anonymous is posting. I noticed that too. Because even the media knows that what they posted was 4 years old.
I mean, you're not gonna find out who they are because they are anonymous.
People found out who they are already. I just think the people that found out who they are already got them.
I know that's my joke. You going? There you go. Listen, I mean, when I first saw it, I was like, all right. Like I read it, but I was like, okay. But can you give me something else? Like,
When I first saw it, I'm like, damn, they got him. And then I did a quick Google search of the exact court case, and the paper I read about it was from 2016. So I'm like, oh, so this is public knowledge already.
No, that's when I first saw it. I was like, okay, you just gave me a piece of paper. That's all I saw. You just gave me a piece of paper.
I thought that too. That's what he did, was give me a piece of paper that he doesn't confirm anything. I don't even know if this paper is real or if it's doctored.
Because I was like,
and I
can make a piece of paper like that.
Yeah, me too.
I was like, I can make a piece of paper like that. Just give me 20 minutes. I'll write something like that. Do you have a video? Do you have a confession? Can you give me out? There was nothing. So it's like, they're just another group that's taking advantage of the situation, just like the looters, just like the rioters, just like Tifa, just another group taking advantage of what's going on, taking advantage of George Floyd's death for their own gain and just their own bullshit. That's all it is. Because where are they now? I haven't heard anything from them after the first day. I mean, I don't get into Twitter anymore, but I didn't see anything.
I set limits on my social media right now.
I threw that shit away, bro.
Y'all making me want to go on Twitter, because the only time I go on Twitter, I just check Trump's tweets. Other than that, I don't really have a Twitter.
Bro, it's like all you gonna see is Twitter is sass and incomplete thoughts, because all the entire goal of Twitter is to say, "Ha, I gotcha," but not to really explain your point as detailed as you can to make a rock hard iron idea.
Yeah, and also it's just like quick shit, like Black Lives Matter, Blackout Tuesday.
Obama. Which, by the way, I have no problem with that. I have no problem with just people supporting.
I'm saying that if you go into Twitter, it's like Black Lives Matter, Blackout Tuesday, Obama, Jesus, the church.
If you didn't post a black box, we see you.
You're a bad person. Yeah,
you're a bad person.
Yeah. Wasn't that shit crazy?
If you have a problem with how they're protesting, you're part of the problem.
Like they were so well coordinated.
Rioters, you're part of the problem.
Out of nowhere.
I didn't get the black box either. That's why I didn't post it. I'm like, I truly don't understand what's going on. Apparently, it was supposed to be. You put a black box, but you don't put it as Black Lives Matter. So that way, when people are looking for information for Black Lives Matter, you don't get their information. You get the legitimate information from. I don't know.
You guys see the day after that, like yesterday, there was a white box thingy. I was like, oh no, what's wrong with people, man?
Yo, I seen some fucked up shit. I have laughed fucked up shit. Like honestly, I'm gonna say I laughed at some fucked up shit. I laughed at a really fucked up shit.
Don't say it. Leave it off the podcast.
I'll tell you that it had nothing to do with George Floyd though, or Black Lives Matter. But I'll tell you later. I thought it was kind of funny, but whatever.
Yo, guys, I'm not gonna lie. I'm tired as hell right now.
All right, we about to get off. Let me just finish off with this. It's gonna take like 3 minutes, and I'll get off.
Yeah, and then I'll tell you what I laughed at, and that's it.
I'm not gonna say who the person is and stuff like that. I know someone that recently defended a friend. I know someone that recently defending a friend that is the opposite political spectrum, from the opposite political spectrum, because that person was being bullied for supporting who they're going to vote for in November. This person was being ostracized by a lot of people, and this person clearly stated that, this person has different political beliefs than me, but I know this person's not a bad person. I know he's not a racist. I know he's not this. I know he's not that. And I'm going to show him love regardless. This person is now being ostracized and attacked on a regular basis. And, I believe that if anyone is out there if you know someone's not a bad person, I know right now everyone's cutting off their families and friends because of some belief that if you don't cut them off, that you are a bad person. Right? To all those people, I just want to say that the people that loved you before you made your political affiliations known to the world, if they love you, if they don't love you after you make your political affiliations known to the world, or if you don't love someone after they make their political affiliations known to the world, then you really didn't truly love them. You loved them for the idea of what you loved about them. That's it. It wasn't true love. It wasn't true friendships and whatnot. And anyone that is feeling attacked, just know that I support you. I support your right to have civil discourse. I don't think you're less of a person on either political spectrum for picking a side that either I don't understand or whatever. Jose and Javon clearly agreed on a lot of things. They're both two politically different people, and I think that people should have more of this kind of civil discourse. I think less attacks on people for just disagreeing. It would just be better for the world. That's it. You guys have any closing comments?
Oh, man.
No.
All right, man. As always, I have been your host, Sam. This has been the Lidat podcast. I was joined by my friend Javon and Jose the Platano Guerrero.
My Afro Latino friend, don't be fucking racist towards me. Fucking Afro Latino.
All right, and goodbye.